Welcome everyone, this is Coaching the Session. My name is Michael Reardon and I will be your mindset coach today. And today we're going to be talking about the idea and the mindset of deplatforming people. Now, we live in a world where social media almost reigns supreme. Social media might be even more prominent and more relatable than the mainstream stations that you will get on your cable TV. Because if we look at how many people today have like regular TV, the number is dwindling, the number is dying down very quickly. Because most people are saying, well, why do I have to, get a TV, get a cable box when I can just watch things online and stream things online? And most people have moved to that way of getting their information, or they'll go online to read articles and they'll have subscriptions to the New York Times or the Washington Post or whatever it is, or the Washington Daily, all of the newspaper articles, right? I'm not too familiar with them. When we look at today, right, newspapers are not as, I guess you can say, prominent and readily available as they once were, because now people get their information in a different way. So that information that people are getting can be from news stations, can be from accredited government agencies, it can be from influencers, from just regular people like me. Be people who have created a name for themselves, a brand, and they might have a large following. For example, Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate has a huge following of individuals, and his message is he wants young men to understand their power, to find purpose, to be ambitious, to go out, become wealthy, find a woman that he can love, and not have to be worried about losing half the stuff in a divorce. Now, that message is toxic today because the agenda of what's happening with men, you don't have to believe me, but if you just look at the mindset, and again, like one of my skills and traits is cause and effect, is if you look at just the system of how they present males today, it is not in a positive masculine way. It's a very passive, feminine natured way. Not saying that the men today have to be masculine and macho and toxic or whatever you want to consider them. Is just a different way of being. Think of it as clothing style, right? In the 70s, they wore bell bottoms and they had afros and things like that, right? Today, you might not get as much bell bottoms and things like that. Maybe you get some skinny jeans and you get some hipster wear and stuff like that. But as clothing changes, so do mindsets change. When the mindset changes, we have to be able to see it. But if it happens in a way where it's a gradual mindset shift, it is difficult to understand that you are going on this journey, this ride, because you're just going to think, well, this is just part of life, right? Just how if you hit 40 years old, oh, my back hurts, oh, my legs hurt, my knees hurt. You're just going to chalk it up to old age. Yeah, I know people who are in their 60s, 70s in the gym and they're killing it every single day. They're not talking about their back hurts. They're not talking about their knees hurt. They're not talking about, they have to be careful. They're ready. I remember I was working out with one of the older guys and he had asked me, he was like, hey, what are you working out? I said, I'm doing biceps, triceps, but I'm just going to be finishing up some triceps. He asked if he could work out with me. I said, sure. So we hit the tricep extensions. We hit the tricep pull downs. And then after we do those, this is heavy weight too. He's like, hey, you want to go do 100 dips? I was like, all right, here we go. Right? I'm not about to let an old man beat me in the gym. I'm going to definitely try. We did the 100 ones. I think we did 110 to be honest, because we were like, hey, did we do 10? And then I was like, I'm not sure if we did 10. And then he's like, well, let's do one more for good luck. I was like, I agree. So we did about 110 dips. That right there is the mindset. That is the mindset that you can get from a person who's just doing the right thing, right? So I see someone in the gym and I say, this person's really good. Let me follow their example. But then we switch it now back to social media. I can look at someone and I can say, let me follow their example. So if I'm following the example of someone who's in shape, who has a good life, good money, good marriage, and things like that, the world might say, you know what? That's actually not a good person to follow. Everyone just want to let you know that they're not good people. All right. So we need you to stop listening to them because they're toxic. We need you to stop following them. And Oh, also, we're going to make it very difficult for them to live and spread their message. So they're going to be banned from all the major social media networks. They're going to be banned from maybe having a bank accounts, and they're going to be banned from going certain places, establishments, things like that, because they have a different view. And I find that to be crazy. But if I look at the world, if I just look at the world and I see what's happening, right? I can see that, hey, the reason why they're doing this is because of control. Because if you are looking at the pandemic, for example, right? You can't come in this building unless you are fully vaccinated. Okay? All right. As a business owner, you have that choice, right? You can choose to allow only colored people in. You can only choose white people in. You can allow only Asian people in. You get to choose who you allow in your store, right? You can trespass anyone if they're in your store. Hey, you need to get out. Why? This is my store, right? I'm telling you to get out. You have that authority. However, just because you have that authority, it does not mean that there's not going to be any consequences or repercussions for your choice or your actions. Yes, you have a belief, you have a system, and things like that. You might not support what they do or believe or the culture or the religion, whatever, but you are in that mindset of this person is an enemy. Deplatforming makes those people enemies. Oh, I can't talk about Andrew Tate because if I talk about Andrew Tate, then in a positive way, if I talk about Andrew Tate in a positive way, oh, they're going to think that I'm an Andrew Tate follower and then that I'm also toxic. Oh, I can't talk about Alex Jones because if I talk about Alex Jones, then I'm going to be a part of Sandy Hook and I'm going to be a part of all those lives because I support Alex Jones because all the kids and the teachers that were lost during Sandy Hook was a tragic incident. But if I support a man who talks about that in a negative fashion, then I'm considered an enemy too because I support someone who had a view or belief or an opinion or was just reporting the news or made a mistake. Where are we? We get rid of people just because we want to. Look what happened with Tucker and, and Fox. Oh, there's allegations and stuff like that. Fox would have won the lawsuit. But guess what? They're like, you know what? We're not going to deal with it, right? Let's get rid of the troublemaker. Let's get rid of the person who's starting too many fires. Kanye West, same thing, right? Oh, he said what? Oh, we're not going to play his music anymore. We're going to cancel his tours and things like that. Look what happened with Tiger Woods back when he had the allegations of cheating, or if he was cheating or something like that. He lost endorsements and things like that. I mean, everyone is a victim to this cancel culture, this deplatforming. Because what's truly happening behind the scenes is not so much the attack against the person, but the process to control the people and the populace. So here are just a quick example of a couple of things and some celebrities. So we talked about Kanye West, and we talked about Alex Jones, Andrew Tate, but also a president, right? Donald Trump was banned from Twitter and he's going through all these hardships and, he's being indicted and he's, being put in jail or put on trial for all of these things. And I mean, it's like they even go after a president, right? But yet we have a president who has a son who has a laptop or apparently has been doing deals that are probably not in the best interest of the country, and some of the actions he does are not in the best interest of the country. Yet we don't say anything. But we don't deplatform. We don't cancel. We support, right? We support the agenda. And it's interesting. If you use Google, if you use ChatGPT and you type in something that is not according to the popular societal norms. And again, if you don't know what societal norms are, I encourage you to check out that podcast episode and even the blog talking about societal norms. We are talking about how society is going, how society is moving, and the norms that we give ourselves. The issue with societal norms is that just because there are societal norms, it doesn't mean that it's the majority of what people are going for. It's what is prevalent in what we see. So I see this. A societal norm is everyone's out of shape, especially here in America. Okay, I see a societal norm of, oh, it's okay to divorce if you're unhappy in the marriage. So I see a bunch of single mothers with their kids and no father in the picture, right? What's happening is it's a societal norm, okay? going just down the list, right? We can figure out, well, like all of these people who are banned just because they have a certain belief, they said something or whatever, right? They're deplatformed, they're canceled. Elon came. He said, I'm going to buy Twitter. I'm going to reinstate everyone. He reinstates most people. He doesn't reinstate everyone. What happened there is we have a person who's saying, well, free speech is important, yet he still has his views on what's appropriate and not appropriate. So free speech is truly not there on Twitter, because if it was, everyone would not be banned, and everyone would not be banned if they said something. Now, I don't believe in like hate speech and like threatening a group of people. It could be extremely harmful to mindset. However, if a person grows up and they're being bullied, they have two choices: to be a victim or to rise from that bullying. Some bullying can be very extreme, right? Fighting, hurting someone, ripping up notebooks, things like that. Sometimes some of the things can not matter, but it can add up, right? If every day you walk down the hallway and someone trips you, it can add up, right? One day you might get tripped and you fall this time. Maybe you're just not in the mood because something happened at the house. You are just not in the mindset to handle that situation the best way possible. So you explode. Now you are the statistic. You are the person who's just unstable, and now you are the problem. You are the culprit. And then we blame something else for the problem. So if you go home and you get a tool to hurt somebody and you bring it to school and you hurt somebody, who's to blame? Is it the tool to blame? Is it the person to blame? Is it the people who are bullying you? Or is it the system that we live in? There's a lot of people to blame, or a lot of choices that we can blame. For some reason, we blame the tool. We talk about emotional intelligence, right? Oh, if everyone was just emotionally intelligent, then everything would be okay. Well, the problem with emotional intelligence in this realm is the hierarchy of education, and our system of education is that there's always someone who's going to be on top. That's just the way it is. We see that people who play sports are better than people who are in the debate club. That's just how it is. Look at society. If you drive a BMW, you're going to be perceived as maybe in a better situation than someone who's driving in a Toyota Camry. That's just the way it is. Is it fair? No. Is it reality? Is it the societal norm? Yes. So we need to understand that, because then we can move from that. And then the last thing I want to highlight right here is this, and then we're going to really get into the meat of our conversation today. Facebook has banned the list of dangerous extremists. Well, what is dangerous? And I click it, they're going to say, oh, people who support this person. Oh, people who talk about this type of politics. Oh, people who are in favor of this law or this rule. They're dangerous. Why are they considered dangerous? Why are they not considered people with different opinions? But they're dangerous. That same kid who's being bullied, is he considered dangerous, or is the bully the person who should be considered dangerous? It's all a mindset, huh? It's all almost a psyop, where it's like, who's to blame, right? Who's the victim? Who is the problem? Who is the person we have to fix, or where is the area we have to adjust? We can begin somewhere, and we're going to talk about that right now. So the idea of like canceling, deplatforming people is going to be just saying, well, this person has a view that we don't support. So for example, Facebook or Instagram, they might have a view of someone they don't support. YouTube, same thing, Google. And then it can even go on to Twitter, right? Where, yeah, you have freedom to say more things and be more free in how you express yourself. But then there's going to also be people who can go on Twitter and they can say, you know what? I don't support you, right? And you can have a debate, you can have a conversation. And it's almost like we live in high school all over again, where you talk about people behind your back almost. Oh, I can't believe this person said this, or they believe I did this, or et cetera, right? It's almost like he said, she said type of thing, when you should be looking at, well, what is the nature of people? This is where I have an issue with attacking certain people. From all the people we talked about today, why do we just attack someone? We don't know, right? Oh, because he said this. Okay, do you truly know the person, right? If I don't know a person, how can I just hate them? I look at someone who has did something bad, like I look at the history books, and heck, they might have hurt millions of people. I'm not going to just come out and say, oh, he's a bad person, he's a villain. Because if we look at what a villain is not born. He falls into that, right? He creates that identity for himself. And in his eyes, he's being righteous. Is he to blame? Now, I'm not going to say that there's not some crazy people out there, that shouldn't be locked up, because there are some crazy people who hurt people for pleasure. They should be locked up. They should be incarcerated, and they should be restricted from hurting more people because they maybe have a screw loose. I don't know. Can you change a person? You cannot. You can give them the tools, and if they want to, they can begin the rehabilitation process to make some changes. But then what if there's a chemical imbalance, or there is some type of mental disorder where they just are not able to focus on that change? Can they change? Yes, they can. Their probability might be low, but yes, they can. Now, when someone asks me about a person, right, they say, hey, why do you support this person? Or why do you talk good about this person? Andrew Tate, for example, right? Why do you support this man? He's so toxic, or something like that. Or why do you support a man or organization that believes this, right? And I go, do you see this cup right here? Right? Just a cup. There's some water in this cup. You can't see the water, actually. But I will tell you, this cup has 50% of water in here. So it's at 50% capacity. Is the cup half full, or is this cup half empty? Some people are going to say, well, this cup is half full, because they have that positive, optimistic type of mindset. Good, right? The cup is half full. Then you can have your pessimist. The cup is half empty. Oh, I only have half left, or I already drank half of it. So, I'm almost done. Depending on your mindset when it comes here, right? Our cup, our analogy of the 50% in this cup. You can't see it, but I'm telling you, there's 50% in here. Do you believe me? Let's say I drank some of this, and now there's 25% in here. But I say it's 50% still. Is it 25% or is it 50%? You can't see it. You can't see the truth. But I'm telling you the truth. It's 25%. This is where we are. This is what deplatforming is. This is what cancel culture is. This is what societal norms is. We tell you what you can't see. We tell you what maybe is going to be most appropriate to your mindset. But you don't know the truth. But then even if this was 50%, and it is, I'm not going to lie to you, that's 50%. That 50% can be good, right? The positive, right? We got 50% of water in that cup. If I put it with a person, okay, let's say I do Andrew Tate again. Andrew Tate is 50% in that cup, right? He is a good guy. He, supports a mission of helping men become more powerful and strong and ambitious. But then there's going to be people who talk about the other 50%. He's toxic. He's a misogynist. He doesn't like women. He hates women, actually. He is telling men to do this and is very destructive to young men to be thinking in this way. That's the 50% that's missing, right? So I ask people when they start attacking people, when they start deplatforming people, when they ask why I support people, I say it's not so much that I support them. It's not so much that I don't disagree with some of the things they do or their beliefs. It's just that I understand that a person has some level of good in them, right? Everyone has good. Whether you believe it or not, everyone has good. Now, yes, you can harm a lot of people, but then you can go home, you can have a dog or a cat. You love your cat, you love your dog. Maybe you have a family, you love your family. Maybe you don't love your family and stuff like that, but then you have a brother in arms, a confidant, right? Your best friend, your best buddy, right? Your war buddy. You trust him with your life. That might be the positive right there, right? He can trust, he can love, he can appreciate, or vice versa, she. So when this cup that we talked about today, heck, it might be at 1% liquid, right? It might be a drop in there. I can see that drop. I have to see that drop. And the reason I have to see that drop is because I work with people all over the world. I work with people of all different backgrounds. I cannot be looking at the negative and saying, oh, I can't work with you. Sorry. No, it doesn't work that way. You want to work with me, we can work together. However, there are rules, there are standards. I have high expectations. You don't come working with me and is combative. I'm not saying that you can't disagree with what I say, but if I'm saying, hey, you come to me for relationship advice, right? And we start working on your relationship. And I'm asking, well, what type of relationships you want, et cetera, et cetera. You tell me. And I say, well, this is the process to get that type of relationship that you want. And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't agree with the way you do things. Okay. I understand. You don't have to agree with everything that I do, but this is the process that we need to take in order to get to where you want to be. The way that I know that's working best. Why would I take someone on an alternate road if I know the best road? Now, we can go on the best road and it might not work for you, right? Because everyone, again, is different. And we might make some adjustments. We might pivot, and we do. But if you're just going to say, no, I'm not walking on this road, right? I want to do it this way. Well, if you want to do it your way, then why'd you get a coach? Why did you get someone who is further ahead of you saying, hey, do this, do that? And you're over here saying, no, I'm going to do it my way. Well, if you want to do it your way, you don't need somebody. So I have to see the positive in people. Even though that person was rebellious, and even though that person was maybe stubborn and difficult to deal with, I'm not going to cancel them. I'm not going to deplatform them. I'm going to still look at the positive. I'm going to see, well, this person's going through a lot. Okay. What is the reason for this type of backlash or behavior? It might be for good reason. So I bring it up to the person. I say, hey, you know what I noticed? That every time I'm coming with a new example or a new process, it seems like you're having some hard time going along with the process. Tell me about what's going on. And we start to dissect that. Because at the end of the conversation, two things are going to happen. Either now we're going to have a solid plan, or B, we're going to say it might not be the best fit for us. Because it seems like you're trying to go a certain path, and it's always shifting to a mindset that's not beneficial to getting rid of our limits and having a strong positive mindset. Right now, what I would recommend is that you just ask yourself, do you really want this? And sometimes you think you want it, or you're just kind of fooling around. Again, a lot of people fool around. Do I give up on people? No. I understand people very well. Can I save? Can I change everybody? No, right? People might say, oh, he gave up on me. He stopped coaching with me. No. I have never held on to people. I have always had this approach from being a teacher. You've always been in these hands with care and love and affection and good intention. And what I do with these hands is I say, you can leave whenever you want. And if you don't want to be in these hands and you don't want me to hold you up anymore and help you and assist you, those hands are not going to hold up and assist you anymore. But at the same time, I'm not going to look at a person who is considered dangerous, or look at a person who's deplatformed, or look at a person who has a different opinion and say that I'm not going to listen to their opinion. Some people call me, and let me tell you, it's some of the most bizarre conversations. They have some of the most insane way of thinking, but that's their thinking. And maybe I'm able to help them, but maybe I'm not. I definitely turn away a good amount of clients because I'm just not a good fit. Sometimes someone needs a mental health professional. Sometimes someone needs a therapist. Sometimes someone needs someone more affectionate and, feminine nature. For me, it's all about the results. It's about changing your mindset. It's about massive action, but putting it in a way where it's palatable to the subconscious mind, depending on where you are. We have to understand that there's good and there's bad in the world, but then there's good and bad in people. And if we're just going to dehumanize and deplatform and cancel people because they have a different belief or a different system than us, how are we going to be any better as people? How can we create peace and harmony if we're always in angst and we're always fighting each other? We're at each other's throats. We have to figure out what type of mindset we need to cohabitate together and learn how to be cordial again. And learn how to accept that not everyone's going to have our views. Everyone's so worried about misinformation and labeling people as extremists or activists, where they are just so far left or so far right on the pendulum where they can't even see what's in the center anymore. What's the middle ground? It's almost like a haze or a mist, and they don't know how to navigate there or navigate to that point. I always tell people, everyone can find that middle ground. Everyone has that middle ground. I can work with anyone in the world, and we can find that middle ground. But if the person does not want to go on that journey, we cannot find that middle ground together. So the people that the news hates, the people that are deplatformed, the people that are considered dangerous, I have no issues with talking about them. I have no issues finding the positives within them, because they might have more negatives than positives. But again, just like that drop in that cup, that's that positive I look for. We can either see the glass as half full or as half empty. And are we an optimist or are we a pessimist? And are we a person who's willing to see a person for their good nature? Or are we willing to only look at a person for their negativities, their flaws, and their past? It depends. What type of mindset do you have? What type of mindset do you want? Because it's going to determine where you stand on that spectrum. Because it's going to determine where you stand on that spectrum. And how you choose to live your life is up to you. No one can tell you how to live your life. No one can make you live life the way you want to live your life. But at the end of the day, it's up to you how you want to live your life. You're in charge. You're in charge of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. So you get to choose. And maybe some of the things you talk about or some of the things you express are going to lead to you being deplatformed or hated or considered toxic or ridiculed or ousted. That right there is kind of like the hater aspect, right? People are hating on you because you're doing something. Might not be positive, but in your eyes, you're doing something right. Again, a villain is not going to see their actions as, oh, I'm doing something bad, right? But a hero, right? The hero syndrome is like, I have to be a hero. I have to do something good. I have to be morally correct. I have to protect people. It's a good way to be, right? Helping people, living with people. But at the end of the day, it's like, do you decide who you hate and who you love? Or does the world decide who you hate and who you should love? And that is where I have an issue. And this is where the mindset is. You should decide who you hate and then how you want to live your life. And if you hate some people, it shouldn't be that, oh, this person's so bad. I mean, I got to tell the whole world not to like this person. This person's no good. I'm going to write all these articles and I'm going to do all these reaction videos on this person. You can say it once. Say it once. Say it twice maybe, right? It doesn't have to be your life mission to hate this person, because hate is only going to bring harm to you. It's going to bring harm to your mindset. It's going to bring harm to your future. And you're going to find yourself filled with animosity to a person who might have so much positive that you can't see, because you're looking at the half that's gone, not the half that's there. My name is Michael Reardon. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, you can email me coachinginsession@gmail.com. And I will see everyone on the next episode of Coaching in Session. Until then, everyone take care.